Christmas is that time of year whenever you get to spend time with your family, playing fun games, unwrapping all of your gifts, and of course, indulging in some delicious food. Now this year, I wanted to settle a debate. Who has the best food? Is it Mexicans or Americans? Now on the Mexican team, we have two classic dishes that I've grown up with, and that is tamales and pozole. Now on Team USA, we've got a smoked Christmas ham going alongside with a loaded potato soup. Let me show you how to cook it. So first up, we have the ham. Grab a pot, and to it, we're going to add some salt, brown sugar, cinnamon sticks, cloves, pickling spice, and some #1 curing salt, and 1 gallon of water. Bring it to a simmer, stirring until everything dissolves, and then let it cool completely. Next, we're going to pour the curing solution over the ham in a large pot. To ensure full submersion, place a plate on top. Now the ham's off for a cold nap in the fridge for a few days. When it's ready, we're going to rinse the ham under some cool water to control the saltiness. And then we're going to go ahead and insert a meat probe into the thickest part and set it on a rack, and we're going to smoke this thing at 275 degrees until the internal temperature reaches 155. For the tamales and pozole, we're going to start with the pork butt. We're going to cut it in half, leaving one side bone in and the other side boneless. Chop the boneless half into smaller chunks to speed up the cook time. Toss it all into an Instant Pot with some coriander, garlic powder, black pepper, deseeded chilies, and 1 container of beef stock. We're going to pressure cook this for about 45 minutes, and once done, the pork will be tender and juicy. We're going to remove the meat from the broth, and then we're going to put the solids inside of a blender, and we're going to blend it until it is nice and smooth. And then once we have this blending solution, we're going to go ahead and add it into our shredded pork. You don't want this to be too runny, but not too stiff. You want it to be something like a porridge whenever you're mixing this together. Now for the masa, I used an entire bag of masa harina. I seasoned it with some garlic powder, black pepper, chicken bouillon, salt, can of enchilada sauce, and 1 cup of melted lard. Mix it by hand, adding water until it's soft, kind of like a Play-Doh-like texture. And this is going to make it so much easier to spread whenever we're building our tamales. Now to build the tamales, we're going to spread the masa onto a soaked corn husk, and we're going to add some of that savory pork on top with the cheese. We're going to wrap this up tightly, and with a small piece of the husk, you can tie a little bow on the top for aesthetics. Now for cooking, place some foil on the bottom, and we're going to add a little bit of water, and we're going to steam these tamales for 2 hours. After the 2 hours is up, you let them rest for 1 hour to set. And trust me, this is so worth the wait. Next, we're going to go on to the potato soup. We're going to start by cutting up some peeled Idaho potatoes, and you want to make sure that these chunks are similar in size so that way they cook evenly. And then after cutting, place them in a bucket of water so that way they don't oxidize. We're going to start by frying up some bacon, and do not throw that fat out. We're going to use it to make a roux. We're going to stir in half a cup of flour and cook it down for a few minutes, and then slowly whisk in the cream. Now watch as the roux transforms it into a nice thick base. Then we're going to keep adding and mixing, and then on the end we're going to add some chicken stock, followed by your potatoes, and we're going to let this simmer for about 45 minutes until the potatoes are perfectly soft. We're going to season the soup with some black pepper, garlic powder, a touch of salt to taste, and a small pinch of crushed red pepper. Now for the pozole, it's really easy. You're going to do the exact same thing that you did for the tamales, except for whenever you have that blending solution, you're going to add it back into the broth, and then you're going to chop up your meat and put it back inside. And then you're going to put in 1 drained cup of hominy, and we're going to let it simmer for about 20 minutes more before it's done finished cooking. Now for the pozole, ladle a few generous scoops into a bowl, and then garnish to your heart's content. Now normally for pozole you would have a garnish, something like onions or cilantro or oregano or even a lemon, but for this one I forgot to get that stuff. So if you like those things, I would definitely recommend putting it inside there, but for this video we don't have that, so yeah. For the soup, we're going to do the same thing by adding a few generous scoops on, and then we're going to top it with some cheddar cheese and some green onions for that classic loaded potato vibe. Finally, we're going to slice up that perfectly smoked ham, and it's time to dig in. We're doing the ultimate taste test to see who is going to take home the crown this Christmas on who has the best food, Mexico or America. Alright you guys, you saw the process of cooking all of this delicious food. We have our American Christmas versus our Mexican Christmas. We're gonna see who has the best as far as food, as far as taste, as far as creativity. And so first up we have our ham. You saw the process for curing it. We cured this for 5 days, then we smoked it until it reached a internal temperature of 165 degrees. And it looks just like a ham that you would get from the store. I did sneak a little piece earlier, and I will say the skin is very, very chewy. If you do this, be sure to take that off just because it's very, very chewy. You could probably make like a chicharron out of it, but this is an American Christmas. So we're gonna go ahead and give this a taste test and see how we did.
I'm gonna just bite it.
All right, she's getting that piece, I'm gonna get this one. Very salty. I recommend maybe doing it 1 day less, maybe even 2 days less. The overall flavor is good. It's just that it has like a little bit too much of a saltiness. You could probably get around it if you put like a glaze on this, like a sugary glaze. It might even it out just a little bit, but as it is right now, a little bit salty, but very delicious. All right, up next we have our potato soup. This is pretty much just a loaded baked potato in a bowl with some heavy cream and some chicken stock to make it like really soupy. You saw we used a roux out of the bacon fat and the flour, thicken it up a little bit. The potato starch that was inside of the potatoes also add a little bit of thickness to this, so we're gonna go ahead and give this a try as well, see how it is. Now this is so good. It cooled down a little bit just because we had to get our little photo shoot in, but it's still very warm and very creamy. The potatoes, they're like the perfect texture. They don't crumble whenever you take a bite. They're just kind of like really smooth and almost like I said, a baked potato in a soup really. Now, here we have our pozole. This soup this one isn't my grandmother's recipe. It's a little bit different, but I've had this since I was a little boy, and you can always count on it being in a huge pot, whether it be for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, for even just a random Sunday out of the month. This soup has, I mean, and her family too, our recipes were a little bit different. Her family likes to put beans inside of it. I've never put beans inside of it for the sake of this video. I just did it similar to how my grandmother did it. So we're gonna go ahead and give this a try and see how I did. Now normally we do have toppings for this like onion, cilantro, lemon juice or lime juice, but I forgot. So we're just gonna have it just like this. It should be fine. We I don't know if this is a Mexican thing or if it's like my family thing. We celebrate Christmas on Christmas Eve. So this just brings back memories of me and my family playing Christmas games, opening gifts, and just eating pozole, tamales, and we'll have a ham every now and then. Turkey, pretty much like Thanksgiving 2.0, but with pozole and tamales. So this one is delicious, definitely recommend. So now for the tamales. If you've never had a tamale before, make sure you take the husk off. I've seen people where they go and try to eat it like this. you will be chewing until next Christmas. So we're gonna take off our little tie, and then you just pull off the wrapping, and after it sits, it should just come off, and it's not gonna be perfect whenever you take it out. Like that, and you have your tamale. All right, it falls apart. They're not gonna be pretty, but they are very delicious. So we're gonna go ahead and give this one a try. You can never go wrong with a tamale, especially the day after Christmas. You heat some tamales up in the microwave, fry you up a couple eggs, put it on top, break the yolks, and it is the best thing that you've ever had. Which dish did you like best?
A tamale.
I'm stuck between the tamale and the potato soup. If it were Christmas time, 100% the tamale would win. But if it was like any other time, I would have to say the potato soup would win. Only because the potato soup is less of a process. Whenever my family makes tamales, and normally we'll make 5 dozen a family. I made 6, so we'll make 5 dozen, my sister will make 5 dozen, my grandmother will make 5 dozen, aunt, uncle, and pretty much whoever wants tamales. We make enough, and we have an assembly line where we have people making the masa. We have people that are putting the masa on the husk. We have an assembly station where we're putting in the filling, and we have a wrapping station, and then we have someone who's bagging, making sure that all the tamales go to the right family if they use a different meat or whatever the case may be. It can be a process, but it is well worth it. Normally whenever we do that, those tamales last us pretty much the entire year until we make the next batch of tamales that next year. You can see my corn husks here in my sink. But yeah, Christmas Eve, tamales, regular any day soup, the potato soup wins. Now overall, who had the better Christmas? Was it the Mexican Christmas or the American Christmas?
Well, I'm biased, so.
Yeah, I'm biased too. I'm biased too.
I'm gonna say the Mexican Christmas.
Yeah, I think it's what we've grown up with. So it's like those two options on the American side were good, but we always grew up, so there's that nostalgia factor to it. And then also like the flavors are just amazing. Even though the ham was a little bit salty, that was my fault. That wasn't, anything to do with how hams normally are. Now some hams are very salty, like a country ham is very salty, but I was going for more of a sweet flavor with this, so it was just a tad bit over salty. That's my fault. But yeah, so we agree the Mexican Christmas hands down won. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video that you just watched today. If you liked what you saw here, let me know by leaving a like and a comment down below on what your favorite part of the video was. If you have any other Christmas tradition or Christmas foods that you like, let me know down in the comment section below. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to get that bell notification on so that way you can be notified anytime that I post. I love you all, and I thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay saucy.